Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This article that I have here is about Putin making some statements that are not very nice, but I think they're straight. He made statements close to these ones, or maybe he made them, not maybe, because I know I heard them before, but he made them in different situations, and now it's like he puts them together in one package, and it's about NATO and um, United States. So this article comes from Republic World from July 8, 2022. This is the title: West supporting separatism, terrorism because they don't need Russia as country, Putin said. So Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the West does not want a country like Russia, and this is why they have been supporting separatism and terrorism. As the Western nations continue to stand against Moscow and support war-ravaged Ukraine by providing significant military and monetary aid, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday stated that the West does not want a country like Russia, and this is why they have been supporting separatism and terrorism. While speaking at a meeting with the leaders of the Kremlin-associated panel, Putin said, and I'm quoting, "Even the very idea of Russia's possible integration into NATO Atlantic Alliance at a stage of our, as it seemed then, cloudless relations with NATO, judging by all appearances, seemed absurd to its members." He further stressed that the US and its partners simply don't need a country like ours, and this is precisely why they supported terrorism, separatism in Russia, internal destructive forces, and the fifth column in our country. They all have been receiving and are receiving to this day unconstitutional support on the part of what very collective West, he concluded, of that very collective West, he concluded. Pointing out the United States, Putin said the Washington-led West has been behaving aggressively against Russia for decades. Russia's proposal of establishing a system of equitable security in Europe was also rejected, the leader said. He added that the West also declined their initiative on joint work on the issue of anti-missile defense. I remember when the United States deployed, or NATO deployed defensive missile systems in Romania and Poland, and they claimed it was they're aimed at Iran somehow. Russia said, "Okay, well, if they're defensive, they have defensive means, and they're aimed at Iran, can we come and just look at them?" What do you think the answer was? Get them out of here. That's how it was, because they knew it was aimed at Russia, not Iran. And as also Putin said before, those defensive missiles can be turned to offensive in the same way. It's not a big deal. You say defensive, but anyway, so he said here, the so-called collective West, led by the US, has been behaving exclusively aggressively with regards to Russia for decades. I also said that our proposals on creating a system of equitable security in Europe was rejected. Of course, why would you stick your nose in our business, right? Initiatives on joint work on the issue of anti-missile defense were declined, and the warning of the inadmissibility of NATO's expansion, especially at the expense of the former Soviet Union republics, were ignored. Meanwhile, during the meeting, the Kremlin leader also accused the West of being a direct instigator and perpetrator of war in Ukraine. While addressing an internal conference held at the Catherine's Hall at the Kremlin with State Duma officials and heads of political parties of the Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation, Putin lambasted the Western nations, stating that the conflict with Ukraine was instigated by the Western nations that attempted a coup d'etat of the 2014 far-right Ukrainian government, in which they ousted the pro-Russian President Viktor Yanukovych. Putin also invited the West to fight a war, saying that if the West thinks it can defeat Russia on the battlefield, it is welcome to try. We know that one. And then he slammed the US and its allies for showing unfriendly and hostile behavior towards Russia. Well, when you argue with someone, you have contradiction or disagreement. You would like to know what the other person, how the other person sees the issue at hand, and you would like to express your view on the issue. So maybe there's a disagreement that could be solved. Maybe there's a disagreement at the core and that cannot be changed, cannot be solved. For instance, maybe it's a misinterpretation and we can discuss the details and say, okay, or maybe we can work a little bit. But if my aim is to destroy you and your aim is to destroy me, there's not going to be an understanding. Or even if it's going to be me destroying you and you just defending yourself, the same, it can't be an understanding. I mean, unless you just give up and you say, okay, then I'm going to be destroyed by you. So when the intention is evil or not evil, but as I said, at the core, and as he says, at least according to Putin, they just want to disintegrate our country and they just want it gone. So starting from that perspective, that's viewed by the Russians, how can you solve the problem? I mean, you can come as a Western country and say, no, look, these are the facts. We didn't expand NATO at all, right? We didn't put any missiles next to your border, right? We didn't do anything in Ukraine, which is next door to you. We didn't instigate. We didn't even help, right? So with this evidence, we have nothing against you. You see, evidence shows that we never stepped or never crossed you, never stepped towards punching you in the face. So relax a little bit longer so we can come closer to you. And we're going to give you all the love we can give. So basically, this is what these guys are telling Putin. And Putin is not an idiot. And he says, okay, this is the evidence. First, you came closer here. Secondly, you instigated inside of Russia terrorist attacks. He provided some information on that. You can say, well, he's lying. I'm giving you what he said. And Caucasus, with Transnistria, with Georgia thing, with all this, and then with how do you call it, with Chechnya. He said there were foreign intelligence services over there, Western, instigating. Remember when I can't remember how many years that was, more than maybe 10 years or so, when Putin said, I think he was quoted as saying that if the Saudi Arabia doesn't stop supporting the Islamic terrorists in, I think at that time it was Chechnya and that area in Caucasus, he said we will send some missiles to Saudi Arabia, something like that. I don't think he actually said that but something along that line. We're gonna just we're gonna stop supporting those terrorists, or we're gonna send you some missiles, basically. I don't know if that's accurate or not. It was someone saying that, quoting Putin, and then the mass media was quoting that person. So nevertheless, it's just, it was claimed that he said it. So he had a lot of information coming from this side, and I want to know what the information comes from the other side. Did Russia come to the neighbor countries, the United States? What did they do? And those guys are coming close to you. If you see, United States is far away from Europe, and always has problems here in the vicinity of Russia. Russia doesn't have over there anything, doesn't do anything over there. You can say, well, it can't. I don't think that's an accurate statement. I think it can. But you will see this probably with Nicaragua. You can see it with Venezuela, Cuba. Argentina is going to join BRICS. Brazil is in BRICS. So there's many changes that could occur easily. So I'm not defending anybody here. I'm not about that. But when you say something, you say it. And you at least say how you see it. And someone can say, well, maybe it's not. And now you bring counter arguments and explain why what you see is wrong. This is my point of view not point of view, but at least an assessment of the situation. I think that you have to discuss with these guys. Or you just break contact with them, then you're going to have this kind of BS. And Ukraine in this situation is in the middle, and they are the most hurt. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.